If we could find a way to take years off our legs, we'd be able to run faster without even trying, right? What would you be willing to do for that? Intermittent fasting, keto diet, cryogenics? Would you even go so far as surgery? Nah, you don't need any of that. The only thing you need is this shoe right here. The Rocket X2 is that elusive youth serum we've all been searching for. It's the shoe that'll take you back to the future to a time when you were young and in love with running. Those two things alone are guaranteed to make you faster. How exactly does this shoe do that? Think about that moment late into your workout when you're feeling completely spent and you still have a couple more reps to do. Your legs feel jittery and you can barely walk. That's age catching up to you. You say to yourself, man, I didn't feel like this 10 years ago. Back then, you could breeze through the same workout. You didn't hit that wall of lactate until much later on. The Rocket X2 brings you back that feeling of youth. Have you ever heard of or used this mantra, if you smile, you'll run faster? That's the feeling of being young again. The Piba midsole will literally put a bounce in your stride that'll put a smile on your running face. The midsole is incredibly responsive and springs you forward. It really does feel like you're running on a younger version of your legs, and it feels amazing. It's like you're a gazelle bounding along on the open plains. Here's how I know it works. Without even trying, I ran my fastest 5K and 10K times on my daily runs. Just that alone is a reason to try these shoes. Of course, you can't forget the carbon fiber plate that's in here. It brings stability to the shoe in a way that still allows you to feel the responsive nature of the foam. It doesn't deaden the experience at all. The carbon fiber plate coupled with Hoka's early stage Meta Rocker is freaking genius. In my opinion, the design and curve of their rocker geometry is the best hands down. Hoka really knows how to design that curve that allows your foot to turn over rapidly, yet in a very natural way. However, there is one thing I need to point out. Although the shoe performs well at all different paces, it's forgiving in that way, you do need to use it slightly differently at different paces, particularly for a heel striker like me. Let me clarify that. I've taken the Rocket X2 through all different kinds of paces, from easy runs to tempo runs and to intervals. As a heel striker, I've noticed that at faster paces, I really get the full effect of the rocket geometry when I'm pitched slightly more forward as I run. As my center of gravity shifts just a little bit more forward, it allows my foot strike to land more on the midfoot. And when it does that, I can feel the shoe kick into high gear. That new angle for me really takes advantage of the Meta Rocker, and your feet can't help being propelled forward. I'm just holding on for dear life. And in order to keep up with that sort of feeling that I'm falling forward, I notice my cadence getting a little bit faster. So two things are happening at the same time. First, I'm moving farther with each step because of this bouncy midsole. And the second thing is, because of the shoe's rocker geometry, it's encouraging more steps per minute. All this equates to the faster times I've been getting. I finally felt and understood the difference between what a race day shoe is and what a daily trainer is, and not just in the price. All this sounds incredible, but the price is something you can't ignore. That's one of the reasons why I was kind of hesitant to buy these. Being a new runner, I didn't think I needed something so expensive. It felt like a splurge, and I could probably accomplish everything I needed to do with a shoe that costs $100 less. This is how I justified it. Everybody says that if you want to run faster, you really have to incorporate some speed work into your routine. I don't know about you, but this is what I do when I hear that. I'd rather run for 2 hours than spend half the time on intervals. So I needed a real motivator. Enter the Rocket X2. I promised myself that if I buy these shoes, I'm gonna start doing repeats and intervals. And to be honest, these are well worth it just for the speed work. Of course, I plan to use these mostly for race days, but I wouldn't mind using them for every kind of run, except maybe like the long run. But that's only because I'd want to keep the mileage down and save them just for special occasions. If money were no object, I'd probably have them on 24/7. But come on, there's gotta be some downsides to this shoe. I'll nitpick in just a second, but we really are living in the golden age of running shoes. And not just in the midsole, but even the uppers. Take a look at the upper on this shoe. It's made of like an extremely lightweight plastic sort of mesh. Although there aren't any visible holes, it's extremely breathable. In fact, this entire shoe is extremely light. And I really like the laces on here. It kind of has a zip tie feeling because as you cinch them up, they tighten without going slack. And what's also great is they stay flat all the time. Twisted laces are a big pet peeve for me. One of the downsides I would like to point out, and it's not really a thing if you think about it, like a lot of Hoka shoes, you really do have to watch out for the sizing. These run small, so I ended up sending back my first pair and ordering a half size larger. I usually wear an 8.5, but I got a 9, and these fit perfectly. One other minor thing that I wish they did a little bit better is the outsole. In order to save weight, they placed the rubber strategically, but I wish they had made it a little bit thicker to protect the midsole. The outsole midsole is grippy enough, but you can see that the foam is already sort of getting shaved on the outer part of my heel. It's also not a full stack of foam that goes to the gills of the legal limit, so only time will tell if the marathon distance or half marathon distance will be an issue for me. But otherwise, those are the only two gripes I have. The gusseted tongue feels great. It's a little bit tricky to get your foot in there, but once it's on and the lace is tied, it's like a corset for your feet. Now even your foot will feel young, svelte, and ready to race. Which brings me to one last thing I want to say about the Rocket X2. This is obviously a race day shoe. It wouldn't be fulfilling its purpose, what it was born to do, unless it was allowed to race, right? And I couldn't live with myself if all I did was speed work in these. So another way I justified spending the money on these shoes was to enter my first race ever! Yup, I'm gonna run the Los Muertos 5K in less than 2 weeks. Actually in less than a week by the time this video comes out. I'm so excited and scared at the same time. I never thought I'd want to put myself under that kind of pressure. I just wanted to see how these shoes perform in a race environment. Besides, any race with skeletons involved has got to be a lot of fun. So wish me luck and I'll tell you all about it the next time. Ride or run, let's have some fun.